Hello and a very warm welcome to Talking Germany, the show where we do just that. My guest today is one of the leading members of DW's Spanish language service, and here she is, Pia Castro.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Pia. Nice to have you on Talking Germany.
Thank you for inviting me.
Lovely. Now, Pia, who was already a very familiar face for viewers of our journal news broadcast, is now presenting her own talk show here on DW. It's called Alemania con Acento. But beyond all that, I know that Pia has some fascinating stories to tell about her homeland, Argentina, as well as about her work as a broadcaster. I think it's fair to say activist in the field of migration and integration here in Germany. So, these are today's featured topics. Courage and commitment, the battle against racism in small-town Germany, progress and setbacks. Pia Castro will tell us about her experiences. Passion and yearning. Talking of small-town Germany, Tango, that quintessentially Argentinian dance form, has arrived in tiny Velzo, population 4,100. And inspiration and mysticism. Germans have a very special relationship to their woods and forests, and it's the focus of a major exhibition here in Berlin. Pia, welcome once again to Talking Germany. It is great to have you here. I'm very excited, and you must be very excited because you too now have a talk show here on DW.
Yes, 45 minutes, imagine. I mean, if you're used to doing news, which lasts only 5 minutes, 4 minutes if you're lucky, and then you get 45 minutes of broadcasting. It's amazing, and you have one person that you can find out about their lives. It's wonderful.
And what's the focus exactly?
The focus is that we are interviewing people that were not born in Germany, that speak Spanish, Latinos, Latin Americans, and also, why not, Spanish people from Spain that have done something good for this society, that in a way have been successful in this society, that they understand this society very well, they know the where to go and the no-will-go areas, which is quite important. And we interview them, and I want to find out why they came here, what are the problems with the society, what were what they were afraid when they decided to immigrate, and it's stories of people that live here for people that are in South America and want to hear how these people have managed in another country. And
in many ways, you're talking about people exactly like yourself, because you too have made this journey from Latin America to Europe to Germany.
Yes.
I read somewhere that you were very interested in Germany when you were a youngster, when you were a teenager.
Yes.
What was the source of that interest?
Yes, but it didn't start until the wall came down.
I see.
And with the wall coming down, the news were full of things going on about Germany. The newspapers, everybody was talking about Germany. Germany was like the belly button of the world, and I got curious, mainly trying to find out how they're going to manage with all these problems. How are they going to manage to put one nation of two countries, of two different mentalities together? How are they going to cope with their own very difficult past? And I thought, I have to be there. I want to see this.
Okay. And you have now been in Germany for 2 decades, more or less. In that time,
a little bit less.
A little bit less, yeah, but it's a long time, yeah. And in that period, I mean, Germany has changed immensely in that period of time.
Totally.
Yeah? Tell me, what has changed?
But it was about time that Germany changed. I mean, how many years was Helmut Kohl governing this country? 16 years.
16
after
long
16 years, it's not a big thing that the country changes. Of course, it has changed. It became an immigration country. It became a country where migrants were slowly more and more accepted. It became a country that, in a way, one part of the society was not afraid anymore in meeting people that were different from themselves. It became a more movable society and a more flexible society. And in any way, in the society, concerning education, concerning politics also. I came just after Helmut Kohl, and you could still smell the time of Helmut Kohl. And
we don't want to be too unfair to Helmut Kohl. Helmut Kohl was the person who brought reunification to Germany,
Of course, and then one of the most important Europeans that we had.
Absolutely.
And that we're missing now.
OK, but the things you have touched on already, we'll talk about much more. Migration, immigration, of course.
Sure.
Yeah. OK, you found out a little bit about Pia's journey so far. Here's more.
This is the Berlin district of Kreuzberg. Pia Castro has made her home here for more than 20 years. The 39-year-old Argentinian appreciates the area's mix of immigrants from around the world.
Hello. Hi. It's good?
She has a lot of friends and acquaintances here, like Hassan, a DJ. As a journalist who's chosen to make her home abroad, Pia considers multiculturalism to be an essential part of life. Kreuzberg's melting pot character is very important to her, despite the district's social problems. Pia Castro was born in Buenos Aires. Her parents had emigrated there from Italy. Before she moved to Berlin, she lived for a time in both the United States and the Dominican Republic. With that background, it's no surprise she loves world music. For 10 years, she presented a Berlin-based multicultural radio program on that genre. She and her colleagues worked to encourage cultural diversity. For Pia, it was an example of real-world integration. She was deeply disappointed when the radio station went off the air in 2008. Pia's commitment to cultural diversity is even reflected in her personal life. The Italian Argentinian is married to Cem Özdemir, the German-Turkish co-chairman of the Green Party. In 1999, when she started working in radio, she also began working at Deutsche Welle. That was a great start for the passionate soccer fan. She became the first woman sports presenter to be seen in Latin America. Since February 2012, Pia Castro has had a show of her own, Alemania con acento. She talks with immigrants from around the world about their experiences living in Germany. Pia watched the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 on television. The event so captured her imagination that she decided to move to Berlin, where she completed her university studies in political science and journalism. She thinks it's important to encourage enthusiasm for politics, so she regularly takes pupils from a bilingual school on tours of the German Parliament building, the Reichstag. She hopes that will help pass on her love of Germany to the country's littlest residents. Today, she's our guest on Talking Germany, Pia Castro.
Okay, Pia, let's go back to your early days. You were born in Argentina. I know you haven't spent your whole life there. Obviously, we've discovered that already. You didn't spend your whole childhood there.
No.
But it's the country of your origin. And when you were growing up, the country was going through terrible, troubled times. What impressions did that leave with you?
These impressions came late. I didn't have any kind of impressions when I was living in South America, because we were not living in Argentina, which was a very good thing for my parents, because they didn't need to answer any kind of difficult questions to me. We used to be not a quite political family. Mm-hmm. I grew up in the Dominican Republic between palm trees and beautiful beaches. And when we came back from the Dominican Republic to Argentina, we spent the last 2 years of the military dictatorship. And the questions started when I came to Europe.
I see. And I've got a quote from you that I wrote down, that you said, "Politics was taboo. A lot of people in my parents' generation were terrified of saying something wrong.
Exactly.
People disappeared every day."
Yeah, people, 30,000 people disappeared.
That must have had a huge impact on you as a child. Yeah.
As I said, not really, because I was very young and we didn't really know what was going on. And we had parents that were not willing to talk about that because they were very scared of going too far with their talking. So all this political questions started when we came back, when I came to Europe, when I started to be a really political person through my socialization here in Europe and in Germany. And I remember the first years coming back to Argentina and asking these very sharp questions to my parents, and my parents not really being prepared to answer that question. So it was a process that started with me and continued with my family in Argentina.
Okay, and that wasn't the only traumatic thing. When we talk about the dictatorship, when we talk about people disappearing, which happened in Argentina, there was also, of course, the country went bankrupt.
That was 2001.
In 2001, you were there.
I was there. It was December 2001, and I remember I had my airplane ticket to go back again to Germany because I had to work on the Deutsche Welle to do the journal, to do the news, and I had things to do here in Germany. And I remember my parents saying, "I don't know if the airplane is going to leave the country. The streets are closed. You're not going to be able to go to arrive to the airport." And we had riots. That was the very beginning. A very aggressive atmosphere in the country. A president flying out with his helicopter, leaving the country alone. Me leaving my parents alone in a very weird situation, going to the first world, going to Germany. I was not really feeling comfortable with that idea, and I was feeling pain and I had bad conscience because I was going to the good world, leaving the place where I was born I mean, it was not my fault, but it was a very weird time.
And what you were doing when you were making this escape, when you were making this journey, that was the journey of a migrant.
That was the journey of a migrant, but I was on holidays there. It was 2001. I had been living like 6 years or 7 years before in Germany, and that was only one part of the Argentinian story. It was a very difficult time. I have sisters and brothers, and it took them like 5 years to get invited for an interview for a job. I mean, you have to imagine that.
But does this background of yours explain why you are so interested in the whole theme of migration and migrants and integration here in Germany?
Not really. I mean, all these topics started because I mean, me as a migrant, I mean, we did the work to try to change. I mean, it's not only my work, and I didn't do something very special, but we felt the difficulties in this society of having this being a society that is totally closed, and being a person that mainly has some political ideas and works here in media, but doesn't speak perfectly German. And that was the beginning. I mean, I was one of the first ones in the media, in the press, and it was a very difficult time. And I wish that for my children, for the new generations, that they don't have it so difficult. Okay. And that's how it started.
We have a bit of a paradoxical situation because we've just been talking about Germany as a flexible, open-minded, sort of very modern society, but then there is everyday racism.
Exactly.
Yeah? How bad is that problem?
Well, we have a multicultural society. We have a society where we have Germans that have contact with migrants, know what's going on all over the world, that are very open. It's a multicultural society. That's your reality, maybe. That's my reality, and that is also part of Germany. And then we have the other part of Germany, the xenophobic, the racist part of Germany, of these little towns in the Thuringia and Sachsen. And
so in some of the Eastern German states, it's maybe a little bit more preponderant. It's sometimes difficult to sort of really weigh that.
Exactly, but they are there, and then we have the majority of the society, which I would like to know how they think. And that's our homework. That this is our work that we have to do, how to reach these people.
You just said we have a multicultural society. Give me a definition of a multicultural society.
We do have the multicultural society. We have that's very difficult. Why do we have a definition of
a definition? What does it mean, a multicultural society?
It's a society that it's not afraid anymore to meet and to get to know people that are a little bit different than what they know, and their own history and their own curriculum vitae. Okay,
that sounds good to me.
Good.
It sounds like the world in which I live, here in Germany, here in Berlin. However, rewind, October 2010, Angela Merkel says, attempts to build a multicultural society in Germany have utterly failed. I'm quoting the Chancellor of Germany.
Yes.
Who's right, you or her?
Oh, well, what is... she's multicultural. Maybe she doesn't know. She's the daughter of a preacher from East Germany. I mean, that's also multicultural. That's also part of their reality. It's not my reality. It's not the reality of the people. But in a way, she is some kind of different to the main society. And she became Chancellor of Germany.
Yeah. In recent years, I have tended to say, because people always ask me as a journalist living in Germany, people say, how is integration going? And I've always said, well, you know, there are problems. There are problems everywhere. But I think that we're pretty much on the right path here in Germany. But recently, we heard about it in that report. We've had these revelations about a neo-Nazi terror group in eastern Germany, perhaps with links to the West, who over a period of time killed 10 people, mainly members of the immigrant community.
During 10 years.
That's very worrying, wouldn't you say?
It's scary. The state in the state.
Why? You know, how could that happen?
That's a question that actually not even the politicians can answer. I think that we were so worried about the reunification. We were so worried about making Germany work along with all the history that Germany had in the past 20 years, that we failed in refocusing again with topics like xenophobia, like right-wing movements, and I think that it was a shock for the society, and I thought a shock for the politicians and for all the people that were reading the newspapers and watching TV, finding out that during 10 years, 3 crazy neo-Nazis were killing migrants in Germany.
Yeah, it's certainly been a shock for me, I have to say. I've had to sort of really reassess.
But since we saw the movie about the Antonio Amadeo Foundation, I mean, these are the people that are winning back again the audience of the politics, and also getting a little bit more money to continue the work.
Funding, exactly.
A bit more funding, exactly, to continue the great job that they are doing. And I don't only know these projects, but there are many, and I think that.
Well, okay, let's talk about it.
Let's see the positive thing of this.
We'll talk now. We're going to talk about ground-level projects because Pia lives in the Kreuzberg district of Berlin. It's a part of the city that I must admit that I really adore. It's very mixed, it's very vibrant, and Pia is what Germans call a Patin, literally a godmother for a multicultural project. It's called the Neighbourhood Centre. Let's have a look at some footage now, and perhaps Pia can tell us what we're seeing.
Yes, this is the Nachbarschaftshaus, that is a neighborhood center.
Yeah.
And I am quite proud, actually, of being part of this project because we were asked as a family to get involved in this neighborhood. There are so many problems. I mean, you have one great side of Kreuzberg, being vibrant, multicultural, open-minded, but then you have the bad part of Kreuzberg, of people that haven't arrived yet to the society, that don't even know how to speak German, children that cannot manage well in school, that stay at home, and like part of a lost society. And I thought it would be a good idea to get involved and help these people that haven't arrived yet to this society here in this center, which is being directed by what I call very typical Kreuzberg, but was for me very important. It's a Turkish woman together with a Brazilian woman.
Oh, wow.
And that's also part of the multiculturality that I am always been searching for.
And it's not only a multicultural project, it's a multi-generational project. That's very interesting.
Exactly. These, you get elderly people that work in the garden. For example, they have a wonderful garden with young migrants talking and doing the work in the garden. You have also courses, for example, for people that don't speak German. You have also courses for German women without a husband or without a partner that have to take care of their own children and sometimes have to go to work and they don't know where to leave the children. So there's also a place where you can leave your children there, and daycare. Yeah. Many interesting things that are going on, and they have good funding, and it's a nice place to be. It's also important to feel comfortable in a nice place. Not everything is so bad.
We're talking about multiculturalism, and you just mentioned the Turkish population in Germany. And your family is sort of a multicultural project.
Yes,
in many ways, yeah.
Project. In some years, I tell you if it work out, the project.
I do want to ask you about your husband, because your husband is a particularly prominent German-Turkish politician. He was born in Germany. Turkish parents, yeah?
Yes.
And many people outside there in the big wide world, I know when they look at Germany, they've heard of your husband, Cem Özdemir. He's a senior politician with the Green Party.
Yes, especially internationally, yes.
Exactly. He's a well-known figure. Now, people will ask themselves, is he the exception that proves the rule, that not too many Turks make their way up through German society, or is he part of a movement? Is there more going on there?
It's what I see in Kreuzberg. It's definitely part of the movement. He was maybe the first one, but there's a whole generation in Kreuzberg where I live, in my house, of young Arabic German doctors, teachers, even professors at interesting universities, that we all live together. We have the same language, we have different cultures, we have the same values. Yeah. We share something in common, the constitution, the language, but it's not interesting for the press to write about these people.
We've heard this so often before on this show. We've had guests from, you know, who you would say are from the broader immigrant community. They've said, we want people to look at the positive examples of what's going on.
There are a lot. There are a lot, and I'm happy. I mean, it's not a topic for me to say you know, to fight for these people, because I know them, and that's my everyday life. So.
Okay. Pia, a regular feature on the show now these days is we ask our guests to bring along something that is important to them, that, you know, will tell us about their lives. And, you know, this.
Yes, and I brought something that you didn't know, if I may say. It's the mate. It's our national drink in Argentina, in South America.
Maybe there are more people like me who, you know...
I'm sure. I'm sorry.
Tell us about mate.
No, that's the mate tea. That's the green tea that we have here. That it's one of the best drinks that you can get. And I'm surprised that people in Germany don't know it and don't drink it. Because it's a great way of lose weight. And it's digestive, and it's also it's like a huge, big wake-up call. It's like coffee, and
you drink this every morning?
Every morning, or sometimes in the afternoon when I have friends, and it's a mixture.
You phone people and you say you're going to come round for a cup of mate?
No, when I have the Latin American friends coming at home, or even Argentinian friends, we said, what time are you coming? Well, around 6 o'clock. Are you preparing the mate? Yes, of course, I'm preparing. I'm boiling the water for the mate. Exactly. Would you like to try, Peter?
Go on then, quickly.
Come on.
Yes, this is what we've got the flask for. The water's going in here. Yeah, this is going to be my first.
It has to be very hot.
Of mate. Go on then.
Be careful, with your mouth. It has to be very hot, but not boiling water.
Okay.
I mean, you know, and you don't touch it with your tongue. It's like nargile or shisha, like the. You know, the pipe for the Arabic people.
Go on then, you're going first. Yeah.
It's good, it's a little bit bitter.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Give it back to me.
Well,
that's mate. That's our everyday life, and actually the show that I am hosting, Alemania con Acento, I wish we would have mate, because this means that we are in a nice, cozy atmosphere. This is between friends. I mean, I would be like this, totally overdressed for drinking mate. That you're doing in the morning or in the afternoon with friends, and the doors closed at home.
What do you say? Tango?
I don't dance tango.
You don't
I don't dance tango. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm very
disappointed. Our people.
You were asking me about the instrument. I mean, it can be an accordion. It can be the bandonion. Yeah.
No accordion.
No accordion.
A bandonion, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I can tell you a story. I can tell you my story about tango and the bandonion. I once saw Astor Piazzolla play in concert.
Wow.
And I was standing next to another guy from Germany who came from the city of Krefeld. And the instrument was actually invented in Krefeld. So Astor Piazzolla came across to us and he was shaking our hands and saying and showing us his instrument. It was an absolutely fantastic moment. Why do you think Germans go for it so much?
I don't think it's a German thing. I think it's a Berlin thing, and I think
Berlin
that
thing?
A Berlin thing. I think. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows, but Berlin is the capital of tango after Buenos Aires. That means that everything that has to do with tango, big names, small names, people that so you have a huge scene. You have every night at least 10 tango saloons where you can go and dance tango. So it's a Berlin thing.
You're talking about the Berlin that I live in.
I'm talking about it's
amazing.
You live in that Berlin, I live in that Berlin, and we don't dance tango. Imagine about that. I don't think it's a typical German thing. I think that it's a worldwide thing. You go to Japan, you go to Tokyo, and everybody's dancing tango.
You go to Finland.
That's another kind of tango.
Is that another kind of tango?
Yes, that's another kind of tango.
Oh, really?
More melancholic,
even more melancholic.
And even more dark tango.
Even darker.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So they do the sexy tango in Berlin.
They do the sexy tango that comes from Argentina, but I don't dance tango. I think that it's a dance for elderly people. That's the way I know it from Argentina. I mean, that means that my parents dance tango, and my grandparents dance tango, and everything that it's not really elderly, you don't get the sensibility and the sense of how tango has to be danced. To show all this, yes, I'm sorry, I'm making all these movements, but to show what you have to show through tango, and
it's very evocative.
Yes, no, it's a matter of understanding life.
Okay. Is there a large Argentinian community here in Berlin? We're talking about multicultural society.
Yeah, not like in Spain, and definitely not like in Barcelona, Madrid, or Paris. No, not really. I mean, there are Argentinians, but
not a big deal.
Not a big deal, actually.
Pia and I were watching that report and thinking about Germans and woods and forests and what have you. And you said you had a very special moment surrounding all this.
The past year, this is where I really thought consciously I have really arrived to Germany or understand this culture
after nearly
very
2 decades,
well. After nearly 2 decades, one of the last things that I do understand, what I had to understand is that walking in the woods and enjoying the forest and enjoying the romantic landscape that you have, that this is like the sports of the Germans on Sundays. And I started to enjoy that. And it has something special that I can't actually really describe with words. It's a feeling, and it's great because it's a feeling.
Okay, and these woodlands that you've been walking in, these forests, we're talking about Brandenburg.
We're talking about the outskirts of Berlin and Brandenburg, and we are also talking about Swabian landscape, which is much romantic.
We're back here with your husband, where your husband comes from.
Exactly, and much more baroque.
So down in Germany's southwest, somewhere near Stuttgart, that area.
Somewhere near Stuttgart, yes. You have beautiful forest, and I don't know if it has something to do with my husband or with his region. Maybe it has to do because we have children, small children, and because everyday life goes so crazy every year more and more, a lot going on, that you really need a Sunday. What do? Let's go and walk and have a walk. No objective, no place to finish the walk. Just walk, and it's interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, presumably you're not walking in the shoes you're wearing.
I don't. I'm fond of my shoes. That's part of the Latin American culture.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a proper pair of walking boots.
I do, of course.
Do?
Of course, that's the British tradition that we got from Argentina. If you want to walk through the pampas or even through the forest, put up the rain shoes and the British shoes from Kate Moss.
Oh, I see. Tell me about if the Germans get all mystical about their forests and their woodlands.
Yes.
What do you people in Argentina get all mystical about? Do you have the landscapes there that you project this poetry onto?
Of course, the pampas.
The pampas.
The pampas and the cows.
Yeah, because I've never been to Argentina.
That are being fed in the pampas.
Yeah. But you've got mountains as well.
We do, but in the south, in Patagonia, and waterfalls in the north, and a jungle, tropical also weather in the north. But where I come from, it's the outskirts of Buenos Aires. This is the beginning of the pampa landscape, which are plain lands. You have hundreds and hundreds of kilometers. They all look the same, and you have cows and cattle everywhere. And this is the place where the best meat come from. So, and this is not a myth, but it's quite boring to walk through the pampas.
Yeah, the reason I'm laughing is because I was about to ask you the following question. Here's the question, are you an ardent or refined... No, not are you. Do you have an ardent or refined interest in food?
Repeat the question, please.
Do you have an ardent...
yes,
or refined interest in food?
Ardent.
Yes,
definitely.
Because
passion,
exactly. Because this was the definition I found yesterday on the internet of what is called a foodie.
A foodie, no, passion.
You're going for passion. We're going to talk about food now, and the trendy, the green, we've talked about the greens. The trendy, the green and the healthy alternative these days is to try to cook and eat as much organic food as possible. But for some, that might mean going on an organic cookery course.
Take crisp lettuce, fresh vegetables, and aromatic herbs, and whip up these locally grown ingredients into exotic Asian, Italian, or New Zealand cuisine. That's the idea behind the Bio Gourmet Club Organic Cooking School in Cologne.
Our first principle is that all the foods we use are organically grown. The second is that to cook in a fairly sensible and economical way, it means changing your diet slightly, using more vegetables and more fresh ingredients.
And increasingly, Germans are doing just that, buying and eating organic foods. Yet in spite of the growing demand, Germany boasts just a handful of organic cooking schools. Maybe because at first glance, their offerings aren't so enticing.
An organic cooking school isn't able to offer things other cooking schools can. The big draws like exotic animals, the many kinds of fish. We don't offer them because they go against the principles of organic food, of sustainability and local produce.
Still, the dishes prepared here are anything but ordinary. Kerala potato salad, red radish with lemongrass and tamarind vinaigrette. The students are content.
It's nutritious food that meets all your needs.
It's a way to get to know other foods.
You can taste all the ingredients as you've made it yourself.
Tasty.
A feast of truly good food like this deserves a toast.
Pia was just telling me that she has done a cooking course.
Cooking course, yes,
yeah?
Of course.
Tell me
Not
more.
only at home, no, in the center, in the neighborhood center that we've seen
right
before.
There. Yeah.
We did, I think, like every 1 month long, every Sunday, a cooking course for people in the neighborhood, and that was like a multicultural, coming back again to the topic, course. A Turkish friend with me together. I'm presenting the South American Argentinian food, and she presenting the Turkish Mediterranean kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. It was very interesting. We were fighting all the time who has the best olive oil.
And who won the battle of the olive oil?
I won the battle of marketing. She had the best quality.
I must admit, I tend to use Spanish olive oil when I'm cooking.
The best one is from Crete.
The best one, that's good too.
Greek.
It's good, yeah,
That's
sure,
good.
Absolutely. Yeah. In that report, did you like the look of the vegetarian food?
Yes,
yeah?
yes. I'm a less meatarian.
You're a whatie?
Aha! I got you. Less meatarian. That means that I normally don't eat meat.
Normally.
I do eat meat if it's really good qualities. Argentinian meat. I'm sorry, I'm a very proud person concerning meat. And concerning the ham, the Spanish and the Italian ham, I can't say no. But then the rest of all this, meat, I don't do.
I see. I was looking very closely at the Kerala-style potato salad and the red radish with lemongrass.
Are you hungry?
Yeah, no. My daughter she's gone one step further than you. She is now a vegetarian.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's become quite important in our family. How often do you cook?
I don't want to cook every day. I don't want to feel the pressure that I have to cook every day. I do cook every day because we have 2 small children, and you have to be careful with their with what they eat, and especially because we don't eat a lot of meat. You have to be balanced. But whenever I feel the necessity that I really want to cook, I think I'm good on it.
Yeah.
And I don't need any person, and I don't need a husband that really knows about cooking, because I love to cook for him.
Oh, yeah.
A very traditional way of living. Yeah, why not?
Okay. Sounds good. Good. Sounds lovely. Okay, we're running out of time quickly, so I think we're going to have to sort of move on to our quick quiz at the end of the programme. Yeah? Hope you're bracing for it. Berlin or Buenos Aires?
Both.
Both? Maradona or Beckenbauer? I want the better footballer.
Maradona.
Maradona or Messi?
Much more interesting. Maradona or Messi? Oh, Maradona, but that's difficult.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Yeah. I'm for Messi there. Woods, lakes or mountains?
Woods, lakes.
Walking boots or dancing shoes?
Dancing shoes.
Latte or mate?
Mate, no latte.
Very good, yeah? I'm going to get into the mate thing, I can tell you, yeah? That's all we've got time for, I'm afraid, this time round. Our guest, DW TV's own Pia Castro. She was delightful, she was vivacious. If you've enjoyed her company as much as I have, then do come back next week. Until then, cheers.